Amidst the swirling mists at the Empire's northern frontier lies Hadrian's Wall, a monument to imperial might and a testament to human endurance. Here, promises of glory crumble beneath the weight of rain-soaked tunics and an ever-present dread. The wall stretches like a grim spectre across Britannia, where 1,000 stone faces watch the wild lands beyond. As a border guard stationed at this precipice of the known world, your life is an unending cycle of cold and toil. Your allies, equally foreign and fatigued, share in the struggle against a relentless world. This is survival on history's edge, raw and unyielding. Our journey unfolds at the desolate edge of the Roman Empire, where the world as the Romans knew it tapered into an untamed wilderness. Here stands Hadrian's Wall, a symbol of imperial might and fear, stretching across 73 miles of unforgiving landscape. As a newly appointed border guard, you stand on this frontier, shrouded in duty and uncertainty. As the wind wails through the grim stone edifice, a monument carved from both earth and human resolve. Stepping off onto the cold gravel path, your eyes meet the imposing reality of the wall. Far from the grandiose structures touted in Rome, it is here amidst ceaseless wind and stone that you assume your role. Other legionaries move nearby, casting brief, seasoned glances your way, a newcomer to their arduous life. Their voices, as thick and rugged as the northern land itself, recount tales washed in fatigue and hidden lore. The cold northern air bites through your clothing, a chilling reality even within the confines of the bustling fort courtyard. It's a daily dance of man and beast, where crude barracks offer minimal shelter against an ever-present adversary, nature itself. With no welcoming fanfare, your arrival merges into the ongoing march of soldiers before you, a single cog in Rome's vast and unyielding machine. The landscape is a canvas brushed with mist and myth, a stark contrast to the sun-bathed ideals of Rome. Here, the land tells stories of old, whispered in the moor's wind and weighted by the remnants of unnamed deities. Your fellow guards weave tales of spirits and unseen presences, legends seeping from the Celtic heartland. In this boundary between known and unknown, every shadow conceals intrigue, every rustle hints at either threat or folklore. Among the men you serve beside is an array of cultures and backgrounds, each voice a unique dialect reflecting distant reaches of the empire. Syrians, Thracians, Spaniards, Britons, all bound by Rome's emblem. Languages and customs blend in a tapestry of shared existence. Despite initial bewilderment, camaraderie takes root amidst shared hardships, deepening with each shadowy patrol and fireside raconteur. A soldier's life at the wall follows a stringent rhythm. Each dawn rises muted by fog, your senses sharpened against monotony. Patrols demand vigilant eyes sifting through grey for signs of life or danger, a solitary guard amidst a collective watch. Beyond the wall, latent threats from the Picts linger, their presence known in the chaos left behind. Tales of them evoke a mixture of dread and fascination, figures of primal resistance against Rome's Iron Order. Awareness of the Picts instills respect amidst the haunting aftermath of skirmishes, a stark reminder of nature's unyielding strength against human fortitude. The ecosystem at the wall forges a unique bond among soldiers, alliances born not of desire but necessity. As dusk falls, the battle against encroaching shadows becomes personal, revealing both external threats and internal struggles. Time here distends unnaturally, a continuum suspended in fog, where ambition flickers and wanes. Letters from distant lands grow scarce, news from Rome fades into whispers, and daily repetition carves into the spirit a relentless monotony. Guards seek solace in personal rituals, creating carvings or immersing themselves in scripts and scrolls. Each activity a tenuous grip on sanity as the months lengthen into years. Night brings its own challenges, isolation birthing demons that slink beneath the surface of civility. Solitude reshapes the psyche, pushing men to odd superstitions and private affirmations against nameless fears. Whispers grow loud in the dead hours, shadows shifting in corners of the barracks, testing resolve and stirring unrest in even the most stalwart souls. Amidst such tension, faith becomes both a haven and a battleground. Roman gods offer a semblance of structure, their images small yet potent within the camp. Yet older, indigenous beliefs seep from the land, mingling with the empire's sanctioned reverence. Soldiers exchange storied visions, drawing threads of comfort and conflict, blending faiths into a mosaic of survival. The wall's enduring presence outlives its mortal keepers, a stone sentinel against the relentless passage of time. While the lives of those who guard it may fade, their trials and triumphs echo within its stone expanse, a repository for whispers, dreams, and the unspoken bond of a soldier's life. Here at civilization's edge, human stories weave into a singular tapestry, etched in the rugged land, a perpetual echo beneath Rome's eternal gaze, a poignant reminder of an epoch where reality and myth held equal sway. Arriving at the edge of the Roman Empire, you discover that your fiercest foes aren't barbarians, but the relentless dampness of Hadrian's wall. Every step along this ancient boundary squelches underfoot. The pristine Roman boots you were once issued quickly become waterlogged, and within days, blisters mar your feet, cruelly rubbed raw by the relentless friction of wet leather. The chill isn't merely an external force, it penetrates deep into your bones, a pervasive presence in every corner of your world. The stone ramparts meant to protect offer little warmth, only an unyielding chill. Inside, the barracks should provide sanctuary, yet they too bow to the domination of the damp. Wooden beams glisten with moisture, stone walls weep silently, and you discover that even the simplest matters, like sleep, are an ordeal. Wrapped in woolen blankets that never fully dry, your nights are spent shivering in a fitful dance of sneezes and coughs. Your fellow guards, drawn from corners of the empire as distant as Thrace and Syria, all wear the same haunted look, an expression of perpetual discomfort, of rest sought but never found. On the wall, the wind awaits with a ferocious welcome. This is no ordinary breeze, but a living presence that seeks to harass you, probing with icy fingers for any chink in your armour of resolve. Commands shouted into its howl are devoured, reduced to whispers that never quite reach their intended ears. On rare days when the sun breaks through, the wind's bite feels almost refreshing, but soon enough, it resumes its assault, turning even the simplest tasks into a battle of attrition. Every morning begins with the ritual of donning a damp tunic, its fabric clinging to your skin, offering scant protection against the pervasive cold. This garment that once shielded you from a Roman sun now becomes a conduit through which Britannia's endless rains steal warmth. As days slip into nights, the cold, almost sentient, presses in, frosting beards and lashes, and turning men into ghostly figures touched by frost. Sleep brings little reprieve, as the hours are counted in teeth-chattering intervals until relief arrives. Winter presents its own challenges, with each weapon grasp becoming an icy weight, and frostbite lurking at the edges of awareness. Fingers, toes, noses. These are the territories it claims. Summer, in turn, offers a cruel jest. The sun blinds rather than warms, its rays reflecting off the moss-covered stones, peeling skin as though mocking the hopes of respite. This duality of suffering binds soldiers in shared misery. Unity found in the roundabout comfort of familiar discomfort. Nature has more in store, its arsenal seemingly inexhaustible. The midges arrive, tiny tormentors, cloaking you in their buzzing, biting tide. Their bites dot skin, forming itchy welts that merge into an intolerable pattern of sleepless nights and restless days. Even the horses suffer, agitated under their burdens, tossing heads in futile defence. In this shared irritation, soldiers find an unexpected camaraderie, irritation turning to laughter as they exchange exaggerated tales, fighting off ennui as much as any enemy. The sky above is a constant tease, its moods shifting without warning. A clear morning might promise a dry watch, only for the skies to darken suddenly, deluging with rain. In this climate of uncertainty, soldiers become adept at reading the landscape. The flight of birds, the scent carried by the wind. Experience tempers expectations as hard lessons teach where to place stones against deluge and how to batten down shutters before storms. The soundscape of Hadrian's Wall brings its own symphony. The moan of the wind through woodlands echoes like ancient war chants. Rain drums an endless cadence upon stone, while night invites whispers between shadows. Songs from foreign mouths weave through the air, longing for homes far away, as stories spun by firelight bind the soldiers with shared tales of valour, imagined and real, distractions from the grind of duty. Guard duty demands acceptance, a surrender to nature's indifference. This unceasing battle against the elements becomes routine, the cold wind a companion through endless watches. Laughter punctuates the despair as camaraderie grows amidst harsh conditions. The enemy is not merely the barbarians but the land itself, their true eternal opponent. The landscape is a tale of battle, not of man against man but between humanity and the natural world. Stones erected by Roman hands form a tenuous boundary, while beneath your feet the land itself stands defiant. Here lies the empire's edge, where civilization's ambitions clash with nature's immutable will. It's a dance of resilience against ancient forces as old as time itself. In this place, patience is more than a virtue. It's a strategy for survival amidst unending trials. The art of waiting, of quietly enduring the sudden darkened skies and unyielding breezes, becomes second nature. Time blurs as life becomes a rhythm dictated by conditions as much as Roman decrees, each day both a grind and a gradual revelation that beneath the hardships lies a profound understanding of endurance, a balance between man and the fabled edge of the world. Standing watch on Hadrian's Wall is where a soldier's day begins and ends, a walk on ancient stones, echoing centuries of Roman strength and authority. This living shield stretches across wild landscapes, its silhouette interrupting the horizon like an unyielding scar. Eyes strain against mist and rain, searching for shadows of threat beyond, where boredom wrestles with anxiety and vigilance against threats that may never come. Here on these stones lies a paradoxical existence, a silent tapestry of duty and an unseen enemy lurking in obscurity. Each step on these paths connects you to whispers of history, of soldiers marching before you, their legacy imprinted invisibly upon the rock. Amidst this endurance there is a grim solemnity, duty and brotherhood intertwined, forged in harsh winds and relentless chill. The elements batter not just stones but spirits too, bonding you with others, as you all tread the same cycles of life where grey skies blend with muted hopes. This routine is punctuated only by the occasional caw of a crow or a wind's howl, lending music to your shared isolation. When horns cease their blare and daylight stretches, tasks shift, and you face the dreaded latrine duty. The Roman army marches on its stomach, but seldom do they talk of what is left in their wake. The latrines, dark, deep pits, are a test of both stomach and resolve. Time here feels suspended, caught in the stench and filth. Each breath is a resilience test against decay that mocks your courage. Yet these holes sometimes reveal secrets in discarded trinkets and broken pottery. Layers of lives lived within Rome's grasp. Menial as it seems, it remains a vital duty echoing the essential, unglamorous underbelly of civilization's upkeep. Beyond latrines, physical labour is constant. Digging ditches and hauling firewood are the ever-present tasks demanded for the fort's upkeep. These ditches cut into wet earth are more than barriers. They are fortifications and rain guides, protectors in war and peacetime. Occasionally soil yields ancient secrets, a coin or shard awaiting discovery by another time. Though tedious, this work is crucial and demands an unwavering hand. The repetition of it all, shovel striking ground, wood crackling apart, reminds you of your place within the Empire's broader scheme. A constant, if monotonous, bulwark against cold and enemy, fostering a subtle bond of shared struggle. Life in the fort feels like a looping pattern, guard duties mirroring one day into the next, with landscape as unchanging as it is dreary. Repetition's grip seems inescapable, each day echoing the previous with no promise of reprieve. Yet within this uniformity, small moments of relief shine, stories shared, laughter edged with bitterness whispered in bunk rooms, breathe colour into a world of grey. History is alive, not only in grandiose happenings, but in these simple, shared tales giving life warmth against endless monotony. Hope lies not in hope of change, but in finding strength through shared endurance, human connection against the grind of days. When sound envelops the fort, it oscillates between clamour and silence. A cacophony of clanging armour, shouted commands breaking the dawn quietness, signalling another marathon of routine and monotony. Metal scrapes stone. Soldiers shuffle awake, contributing to this unexpected orchestra. This noise, harsh at first, becomes a lullaby in its predictability, soothing in its rhythm. Yet silence frequently takes over, heavy with anticipation, enforcing vulnerability. Every creak and distant howl of a lonely wolf magnifies during these moments, a stark reminder of potential threats. Silence is both treasure and burden, offering brief solace, soon shattered by alarms or quiet betrayals. This ever-shifting soundscape underscores soldier life, weaving rich nuances amid monotonous routines. Time here, measured by sundials and unwavering schedules, is a confined mistress. Each rhythm of guard change, meal, and calls for rest is dictated by unyielding order, a necessary structure as enduring as the wall itself. Security through predictability, despite its constrictiveness, wraps tight around every soldier. Yet freedom is but a mirage, a dream dreamed amid days that blend seamlessly into one another. A still pond, motionless and dreamless. In this construct of seemingly endless time, rituals provide anchor and purpose. Daily offerings and communal prayers stitch meaning into lives distanced from the world. These rituals, woven into mundane chores, offer a transcendental connection, a bridge across the hardships. No matter how strange they seem, rituals bind reality to a collective identity, a shared narrative in which you find yourself anchored today. The fort, despite its harsh intimacy, is a place where friendships form unexpectedly. Men from across the empire bring stories and traditions, a blend of humanity's diverse patchwork. Bonds built on shared laughter, whispered tactics and secret exchanges nurture camaraderie, even in the cluster of common hardship. These friendships, though of necessity, breathe warmth and resilience amid the trials of barracks life. Still, isolation shadows every corner, despite such companionship. At the Empire's edge, every soldier contends with loneliness, with memories of home playing alongside the reality of distance. Isolation births whispers in silence, a breeding ground for madness among companionship's efforts to stave it off. In this solitude, however, lies the path to purpose. Embracing the emptiness lets you find fulfillment. Each chore honours Roman permanence. Every day, repeating, paints the expanding mural of Rome's story. Resilience is forged against this backdrop, a deeper understanding attained through embracing struggles that add substance, allowing purpose to emerge from the heart of monotony. Here, the fort becomes not just a structure of defence, but a testament to endurance, a living memory that withstands both time and circumstance. Standing atop Hadrian's wall, the promise of regular pay quickly evaporated, for many soldiers like mist vanishing under a weak Britannic sun. Sold on dreams of coin clinking in their pouches, they found instead the harsh reality of sporadic wages, hindered by inclement storms or Roman bureaucrats skimming off more than their share. This absence of money was not just a tangible ache, but a psychological blow, deepening the wound of endless thankless labour beneath the Empire's indifferent gaze. Each day of guard duty felt like a mocking testament to broken promises, fostering a simmering resentment echoing around the communal fires. In the shadows of this financial drought, an improvised economy thrived. With Roman coins as rare as a bright day, soldiers bartered in a marketplace where animal pelts and carved trinkets often spoke louder than silver. Those adept at navigating this barter economy not only traded goods, but wove threads of camaraderie with local Britons, building a communal fabric amid shared hardship. Yet here too, the spectre of exploitation hovered. Opportunists, both within ranks and among traders, preyed on desperation, selling essentials at prices that sank trust into deeper shadows. Food shortages and inadequate rations led many to venture beyond the wall in search of edible plants and wild roots, a desperate act fraught with danger. Guided by local allies, they sometimes found nourishment in the landscape. Without such knowledge, the result was often bitterness or poison. Scavenging sometimes blurred morality, transforming needy soldiers into unwelcome raiders, stirring tension with Briton tribes. These forays epitomised the dance between survival and exploitation, leaving echoes of bravery and guilt in equal measure. Even when the army managed to deliver supplies, disappointment often followed. Cold porridge and salted pork, often reeking of decay, became unwelcome staples. Soldiers, forced to soften hardtack bread against stones, found mealtimes a labour of persistence, shared hunger forging a bond of grim camaraderie. These meals, devoid of warmth, were stark reminders of alienation, and discussions of home's vibrant flavours became a bittersweet comfort amid the cold, providing a glimpse of what was left behind. In the stark divide of rank, officers sat at tables laden with fish, eggs and supple breads, a glaring contrast to the rank-and-file diet. This visible disparity deepened a growing chasm, feeding disillusionment and whispers of favouritism. Amid brutal conditions, soldiers question the justice of enduring hardships while watching the rewards of privilege being relished just out of reach. A paradox of unity and division that gnawed at morale. Wine, an essential token of the Roman lifestyle, arrived at the wall often sour, a distant reminder of merriment souring into disappointment. Even attempts to ferment native ingredients offered little solace, hindering the soldiers' search for familiar comforts. This tainted drink reflected a broader service, failing to meet the alluring promise it once held. Grain, the backbone of sustenance, became a conduit of loyalty, privilege, and weaponry. Its scarcity divided soldiers, sparking exchanges of ration scraps in a precarious balance of wants and needs. Missteps in logistics left soldiers bickering over scant porridge servings, an erosion of duty that highlighted the widening gap between imperial ideals and the stark reality of life in a distant garrison. Amid cold relations with native tribes, alliances born of necessity sometimes opened doors to local flavours, offering a respite from culinary monotony. Herb, smoked fish, and native vegetables transformed sparse meals into makeshift feasts that fostered rare but cautious connections between cultures. Yet these culinary exchanges were fragile, easily shattered by shifting needs and tensions, a pendulum of distrust echoing back across fire-lit feasts. In Rome's grand plans, the trials of transporting supplies illustrated how distant Hadrian's wall truly lay. Weather, unrest, and missed allocations haunted every journey, turning logistical triumphs into follies whispered among soldiers. In their isolation, soldiers realised that survival depended on their own contingency, reflecting a stark truth about Rome's promises made from afar. Yet amid these trials, glimmers of humanity persisted. Despite the struggles, soldiers fashioned networks of kinship, sharing scarce resources, forging collective memories against grim circumstances. The bonds of brotherhood, strengthened by shared deprivation, proved resilient, demonstrating the spirit's endurance even under harsh ruins of imperial neglect. Within these ranks, survival became a testament of stoic resolve, a flicker of warmth amid the unrelenting rains and echoes of an empire carved in stone, yet felt deeply in the hearts of men clinging to hope against the cold dark. As the winds sweep over the rugged terrain of northern Britannia, they carry with them tales of the Picts, shadowy warriors from beyond Hadrian's wall. To a Roman stationed at this distant outpost, the whispers of these northern tribes seep into the soul, haunting and insistent. The Picts, so the stories go, move like phantoms through the mist, clad in animal skins and wielding a brand of ferocity unknown to Rome. The veterans, their eyes forever wide and weary, speak of encounters with these painted warriors, blue-skinned spectres who haunt their dreams. The Picts reshape the land into something mystical and threatening, so every rustle hints at their presence, each shadow their veil. The wall feels less like a barrier and more like a line of comforting fiction, its stones and mortar a flimsy defence against an invisible threat. Fear insinuates itself into the minutiae of daily life. Every watch becomes a concentrated effort, every noise evaluated for its menace. By night, left alone with your thoughts, the imagination wanders where logic falters. In those solitary hours they seem ever present, lingering at the fringes of vision. The story's truth is inconsequential, their terror, vivid and consuming. It's during the dark, chaotic nights of raids that Roman soldiers grasp the true terror the Picts command. Their attacks are swift, slipping through the shadows with an uncanny silence. The Picts strike with a violence that feels otherworldly, their presence marked by the screams of dying comrades and the confusion of battle. Adrenaline fights to overcome the icy grip of fear, but swords feel heavier, thoughts clouded by exhaustion and dread. In these brutal encounters, you gain an unwilling respect for their audacity and skill, for the Picts dance along the wall, knowing its secrets more intimately than those who guard it. Like mist, they disperse before any organised resistance, leaving behind an eerie silence, thick with mourning and loss. This rhythm of surprise attacks weaves dread deeply into the fibre of life on the wall, the fear of further violence ever hovering. After each raid, the grim task of assessing the carnage unfolds. The weight of fallen comrades pulls heavily at your heart, a burden carried long after the battlefield quiets. Their brutality is not only bodily, but psychological, carving itself into the minds of the survivors. Yet, from this crucible of blood and fear, formidable bonds are forged. The shared experiences mould an unspoken brotherhood, bound by survival against a stark, primal existence. Moments of dark humour punctuate the horror, brief distractions in the relentless cycle. This camaraderie injects a warmth into the frigid air, pulling you through the darkness as a shared breath amid panic. Signals of smoke spiralling into the sky send a chill down every Roman spine. These ominous pillars announce new threats, a stark reminder of the Pict menace lurking just beyond the visual horizon. Each puff sends the fort into frenzied preparation, armoured men positioned for battle. The smoke communicates their presence, a wordless war horn that tests morale and readiness. For those garrisoned on the wall, these markings of enemy activity are a haunting reminder of the landscape's unpredictable dangers, the smoke a symbol of ever-lurking peril. Rumours swirl that the Picts can melt into the mist, whispering tales of phantom enemies whose vanishing acts contribute to their legend. This mastery of terrain often feels like an extension of their phantasmal reputation, adding to the fear they inspire. Only those who have faced and survived their wraith-like cunning understand that within these stories lies immense skill and an intimate knowledge of their land. This command over their surroundings fosters a deep-rooted respect, a grudging admiration for adversaries that defy the structured order of Rome. For them, the land is not just a battlefield, but an extension of their existence. Every shadow and tree becomes a potential ally, each silence a prelude to confrontation. While Roman standards symbolise empire and order, the Picts swear their fealty to the earth they tread upon. This connection transcends geography, becoming a spiritual bond honed through generations. Such ties complicate Roman military ambitions, exposing tactical limitations. Though equipped with formidable weaponry, Roman troops are repeatedly confounded by the Picts' familiarity with the rugged landscape, resisting invasions with determination. The land is sacred to the Picts, entwining their history with survival. This perspective transforms each skirmish into more than a clash. It's a confrontation of worldviews, pushing soldiers at the wall to re-evaluate their own place in this contested land. Even the rare daylight sightings of Pict forces hold an eerie enchantment. Their gatherings challenge perceptions, their synchronised movements embodying unity and purpose. Their presence more than physical confrontation. It is a declaration of indomitable identity. Observing this assembly, Roman soldiers continually reassess their adversaries, their understanding evolving through an intricate blend of fear and fascination. These encounters reveal force fragments yet conceal deeper truths, a veiled conflict between structured power and dynamic resilience. Amid this tension, the wall itself stands resolute, a silent and solemn witness to a clash of empires and ideals. It marks the division between worlds, ordered civilization opposing the untamed wild. Every soldier stationed there, standing on the front line between the known and unknown, becomes part of this enduring monument. As shadows lengthen and years pass, the wall remains a testament to Rome's ambitions and the tenacity of those who challenge them. It stands unchanged, its stones bearing unspoken stories of ancient conflict, whispering a tale of humanity's timeless struggle against the boundaries of power and nature. Beneath the shadow of Hadrian's wall, a band of men from the far reaches of the Roman Empire came together, driven not by choice but by imperial command. They were a human mosaic gathered under the empire's wide net, soldiers from the sun-scorched deserts of North Africa, the lush valleys of Hispania, the rugged terrains of Thrace, and beyond. Their diversity was their hallmark, yet it also birthed a cacophony of misunderstanding. The tongues they spoke were myriad, a haphazard blend of clipped Latin and native dialects, transforming daily communication into a chaotic dance of words. Despite their Roman uniforms, each tunic held the story of its wearer. A patch here from a battle fought amid sandstorms, a dye there fading from countless washes in rain-fed bogs. Their lives, defined by imperial expansion, mirrored the arduous march of a world that relentlessly pulled them from their homes to the desolate borderlands. But in this far-flung outpost, they discovered that shared suffering could sow the seeds of camaraderie. At first, their disparate origins bred suspicion and a longing for distant homes. Yet over time, the bonds formed in the crucible of military duty overshadowed the cultural chasms. Laughter began to mingle with the stoic resolve of Thracians, and the tales told by Syrian soldiers of far-off Carthago became the evening's entertainment. As these stories unfolded beneath flickering campfires, they painted vibrant tapestries that bridged gaps, transforming a collection of strangers into a fraternity born of necessity. Through hardship and toil, they erected their own semblance of order, braving the elements with iron tools and sheer will. Tasked with the relentless labour of fortifying their cold stone refuge, they built not just walls but enduring friendships, woven with curses, jests, and the occasional brawl. Their measure was found not in origins, but in the shared resolve to withstand an indifferent command. In the dark, as fatigue gnawed at their bones, humour took root. A Thracian's misunderstanding of a toga, or a farmer's missing pigs turned boisterous legend. Their humour, raw and often morbid, warmed them against an encroaching cold more effectively than any fire. Within their barracks, lice became an unwelcome constant, creeping through their hair and bedding. But in the nightly gatherings where soldiers deloused one another by firelight, vulnerability incubated trust. Tales rich with olives and sun-soaked vistas exchanged hands with descriptions of deep forests and ancient rivers, weaving a tapestry both mythic and real. Food, often scarce and mundane, became a language of its own, with modest luxuries like a dash of spice or a stolen leek shared like treasured currency against the bleakness. Despite the scarcity, each bite became a silent rebellion, a small act of defiance that brought them closer in their struggle. Communication, an initial challenge, soon gave rise to a unique dialect born from necessity. Latin patched together with the country-specific curses and lyrical inflections of their origins, crafted a makeshift lingua franca. This mismatch of tongues evolved into a lexicon that was both functional and humorous, enabling bonds to deepen in the shared absurdity of life on the northern frontier. The sounds of battle, when Caledonian warriors emerged from the mist, were familiar to all. In those moments, backgrounds dissolved. Each man stood alongside the other, defined by their unity against a common foe, and by the shielded spaces between bodies that held no room for prejudice, only survival. As time passed, the relentless cycle of Roman festivals and local traditions marked their shared history. Saturnalia offered a brief release from the rigours of command, where roles reversed and the humblest soldier experienced fleeting power. Such festivities, whether born of Roman calendrical celebrations or the Dacian harvest rituals that mingled with springtime blessings, melded seamlessly to reinforce their camaraderie. Through these shared traditions, a new culture evolved, an eclectic mix that reaffirmed their connectedness and reminded them of the roots they had chosen to lay on foreign soil. Death, an ever-present spectre, was met with honour and remembrance. The loss of a comrade evoked rituals steeped in cultural diversity, whispering through incense, etched through tales of deeds past. Each soldier's departure was sanctified in a blend of rites that paid homage not to Rome, but to the patchwork nature of their fraternity, a finality more solemn than any monumental stone. Even amid loss, brotherhood endured. Ultimately, humour was their beacon, nicknames endearing and jestful offered lightness where it was scarce. Their jokes, like their bonds, were tempered in the shared fires of adversity. As wind swept across the wall, their laughter rang out in defiance, echoing the resilience of a brotherhood forged from hardship. Even as the stones of Hadrian's wall began their slow return to the earth, the spirit of their unity lingered. An eternal testament whispered through tales and songs, surviving long past their departure from this rugged northern edge. As a guard on Hadrian's wall, the absence of communication from the heart of the Roman Empire is slowly suffocating. Weeks stretch into months without a single letter or whisper from Rome, leaving you and your fellow soldiers feeling like forgotten shadows at the edge of a vast, indifferent world. The wall might keep barbarian threats at bay, but it also walls you off from the bustling life you once knew. Each day bleeds into the next, a relentless monotony from which there seems to be no escape. The letters that do manage to reach you are crumpled, wet with the journey's toll, and their words from distant loved ones feel like echoes from another life. You gather around the occasional messenger who braves the treacherous roads and brooding weather, hope flickering in your heart like a candle starved of air, waiting for news, any news from Rome. But often these letters vanish, claimed by mud and mist, or intercepted by thieves who care little for the bond between comrades. Each lost message feels like a piece of yourself wrenched away and cast adrift. In this isolation, rumours bloom like mould in the damp corners of the barracks, tales of political machinations in the Senate or generals plotting coups. But they are just that, tales, mere conjectures to fill the gaping void of truth, echoing the deeper silence of not knowing, of being cut adrift from your own identity as a Roman. The landscape of Hadrian's Wall is defined by relentless vastness, a place where sky and earth merge into a single entity of unyielding grey. The fog hangs low, wrapping itself around the battlements and snaking through every crevice of the fort. Your world is reduced to mere feet, limited to the stretch where your torches can dispel the darkness. Beyond that, the dense mist swallows everything, a suffocating veil that cocoons your life in isolation. With this shrinking world comes the inevitable inward spiral of the mind, your thoughts twisting dangerously inward when no new sight or sound breaks the monotony. This insidious solitude gives birth to spectres of the imagination, figures that drift through the night fog, cries heard in the wind, shadows that seem to move with a will of their own. Men who once stood robust and anchored in reality around you now twist and turn within themselves, becoming unrecognisable as isolation grinds down their sanity. In the eerie stillness, creativity becomes both a refuge and a desperate means to etch a presence into the world. Soldiers begin carving into the walls of the fort. Rough symbols come to life under skilled and not so skilled hands, a tapestry of existence forged in stone. These engravings capture moments of personal triumphs and defeats, glimpses of homes left behind, and depictions of gods both Roman and foreign. Through these etchings, soldiers lay claim to a reality slipping through their fingers like time. Each symbol serves beyond mere decoration. It becomes a talisman, a defiant act against the void seeking to consume them. Amidst the cold and isolation, these engravings declare resilience through artistry, merging the voices of the past with the present. The mists that enshroud Hadrian's wall carry more than just damp air. They are said to spirit away the unwary with whispers of ancient, otherworldly beings. Tales of ghostly legions marching beneath the moonlight, faces obscured by fog, begin to circulate. It's said that spirits of builders who died erecting the wall walk these paths, seeking to reclaim what's been taken from them. The line between myth and memory blurs, and figures seen through the mist become fragments of both, a fusion of soldiers' lost hopes and echoes of the landscape's history. In this strange realm, superstition grows to explain the inexplicable. Amulets of carved stone or bits of bone worn against malevolent spirits. Rites of appeasement culled from pagan customs, binding soldiers in shared rituals, facing the unknown with prayers and offerings, whispered at the foot of the wall. The crackle of the fire offers meagre warmth, but it is enough to transport thoughts to different climes. With eyes closed against biting wind, guards picture hearths at home, memories softened by nostalgia and distance. Each recollection is an antidote to loneliness that gnaws at their hearts, unfurling like treasures providing solace. Yet each memory holds a sting. The pain of longing juxtaposes fiercely against these sunlit visions. Letters from home, both comfort and curse, slice through the monotony with reminders of joy left behind. Behind each word lies the understanding that home moves forward, that time within the empire doesn't pause as it seems to hear. Home becomes an ethereal concept, a dream of warmth that might never be reclaimed. The unending stretches of idle time watch over soldiers like a patient predator. With no outlet except their spiralling thoughts, some succumb to madness in this land of stone and sky. Whispers suggest possessions or curses, but it's isolation's talons driving them into madness. They speak in hushed tones, eyes clouded, of phantoms that beckon from beyond. They become hideous reflections of themselves, their mind now a prison. Madness as an equalizer picks its victims without regard for rank, drawing some into its depths quicker than others. The fort becomes a theatre of absurdity, each man a reflection of another's potential fate. Yet, in a land rife with solitude, brotherhood is found in shared despair. Bonds form that endure divisions wrought by diverse origins, fellowship understood by all. They laugh bitterly through tears, survival demanding it. These bonds woven in shared burdens create a tension between despair and hope, a symphony of survival. Among the barracks, shadows cast in firelight defy the madness, with each soldier, through his reflection in another's eyes, finding the strength to rise day after day. No longer just strangers, they are intertwined by shared resilience. In the harsh world at the edge of the Roman Empire, survival often forced men into desperate acts. For a border guard on Hadrian's wall, even small transgressions like theft were not acts of rebellion, but acts of necessity, driven by supply shortages and the biting cold that enveloped their existence. Staring at the prospect of late wages and hunger, they sometimes took what wasn't theirs, not out of malice, but despair. The empire, relentless in its law, offered little mercy. Order was paramount, and any deviation was met with swift and brutal responses, reflecting Rome's iron grip, a necessity they claimed to maintain chaos at bay. However, one could question the justice of such an empire that left loyal soldiers to starve and then punished them for trying to survive. Stealing a ration might lead a soldier to the parade ground or the centre of the fort, where he'd become the focus of a grim public spectacle. Flogging wasn't merely punishment, it was theatre, a performance where humiliation danced with discipline. The soldier, stripped of his status, became a living message. Each crack of the whip spoke volumes, a harsh, cautionary tale written loudly upon his back. The spectators watched, their expressions a mix of fear and fascination as the scene unfolded. Pain served as pedagogy, a reminder of the cost of personal misjudgment. Although wounds might eventually heal, the spirit bore the permanent scars of embarrassment and fear. Through such measures, the army ensured conformity, asserting Rome's might through the sheer brutality of its justice. Far worse than theft was the act of desertion, a monumental breach of duty viewed as traitorous. If a soldier attempted to escape, he fled into uncertainty, his heart racing as the spectre of capture accompanied every step. Not that capture guaranteed mercy. Quite the contrary, captured deserters were crucified, their bodies left as grim warning marks across the landscape. Crucifixion was more than execution. It was artfully designed deterrence, a chilling silent plea to others who might dream of escape. These unspoken reminders cooled the bravest aspirations for freedom, reinforcing the reality that Rome's grasp extended far and wide, leaving no room for surrender or escape. Amidst this stringent discipline, soldiers found slivers of humanity in taverns, where wine washed away the day's drudgeries. Within these walls, camaraderie flourished, friendships forged in the fire of shared adversity. With every cup raised, soldiers tasted an illusion of freedom, a fleeting escape from the Empire's watchful eye. Yet, even here shadows lurked. Tensions simmered beneath the surface, often erupting into drunken brawls. Angers too long restrained found outlet in fists and broken bottles. These tavern disputes, while petty, reminded soldiers of Rome's omnipresent grip, a liberation only permitted within sanctioned bounds. The men wrestled with absurdities in the nature of their commands. Edicts came in precise Latin, often detached from reason, dictating the seemingly endless cycle of building and dismantling undertakings across the empire's vast stretches. Dehumanized within futile orders, the soldier's life became bound to incomprehensible demands that defied logic and understanding. But loyalty blurred the lines of absurdity, embedding resilience through duty, even as they marched to fulfill Rome's grand ambitions, a weary dance between valour and folly, rarely rewarded but always expected. Within the fortress, power dynamics ruled, moulding soldiers' lives under the watchful eyes of officers, men adorned with comforts and privileges, unseen by those they commanded. Officers lived well with fine wines and literary indulgences, while the rank and file lived on stale rations and the echo of dreams far from reality. Yet a tenuous balance of mutual respect endured, born from necessity and occasional kindness. Officers' decisions shaped lives, steering alliances and unveiling discord as the ladder of command both bound and divided them. Irony wove itself through the existence of a Roman soldier. Sworn to the empire, they felt the weight of contradiction as fantasies of escape flitted against the unforgiving backdrop of duty. The rhythm of life swayed unpredictably, their days etched with orders leading towards inevitability, their reality obscured by Rome's illustrious narrative. It was a tale strung across lands conquered and voices raised, a dance over terrain charted by decrees that paid little heed to the lives of the men who enacted them. Orders from Rome, scripted on scrolls, tethered soldiers to a grid of precisely calculated obedience. These written edicts, echoing from the heart of the empire, dictated every movement, crafting a web of adherence that bound forces into cohesion against distant chaos. Men served orders not their own, weaving the empire's complex narrative through an iron resolve etched in ink and sometimes blood. Yet, ever present was the knowledge that disobedience meant death. Justice, an unyielding monolith, promised no reprieve. Each transgression rebuilt the contract soldiers held with their empire, a perpetual reminder of the consequences of stepping beyond ordained lines. Death in the face of Rome's justice underlined the immovable structure of this ancient regime, binding men singularly to an empire that demanded much and gave little in return. In this world of branded skins and imprinted memories, survival was narrated through the marks of justice. Scars carried stories of lessons learned, underscoring the brutal honesty of life on the wall. Through these echoes, soldiers grasped at the whispers of liberty while anchored steadfast in service, enduring, remembering, and persisting under Hadrian's enduring gaze as stars wheeled over their storied pasts. For a Roman soldier stationed at Hadrian's wall, retirement was a distant beacon, shimmering alluringly on a horizon of bleak hills and foggy winds. It promised land, wealth, and the coveted status of Roman citizenship, but only after surviving a grueling 25 years of service. Young recruits, barely beyond adolescence, were drawn by the dream of Roman citizenship and a chance to rise above their provincial lives. Yet the reality on the wall quickly shattered these dreams. The years stretched endlessly, days filled with harsh winds and the constant shadow of danger, as hardship became the soldier's constant companion. Retirement wasn't just a distant hope, but a critical motivator, urging men forward day by day through the unending grey of Britannia. Few veterans reached this milestone, where Roman citizenship was a prize few could claim. Achieving it required surviving battles and enduring brutal winters, each a step towards the land and honour promised. The carrot dangled at the end of that gruelling stick kept many soldiers going, fueling dreams of a better life beyond the harshness they faced daily. Life at Hadrian's Wall stripped away the soft edges of comfort, leaving soldiers to grapple with cold, damp and grinding monotony. The barracks, mere shelters of stone, offered little warmth, and the constant dampness seemed to penetrate bone and spirit alike. Army rations were sparse and unappetizing, mostly barley, sour wine, and occasionally tough salted pork that hinted at rot. Cut off from the riches and luxuries of Rome, these soldiers scrounged and traded at exorbitant prices with local vendors for basic necessities, a grim testament to their endurance and grit. Drills, guard duties and fort maintenance routines dragged time into a slow, weary loop where monotony reigned. Soldiers distracted themselves as best they could, with dice games, brewing makeshift drinks or exchanging stories. Yet beneath these diversions lay an undeniable bleakness. The relentless winds over the moors and the incessant rain wore on their resolve, testing their endurance's limits. Danger was a constant along the wall, as the Picts posed an ever-present threat. Masters of stealth, they launched surprise attacks with unparalleled ferocity, leaving terror and ruin in their wake. Soldiers stood guard, ever vigilant against these stealthy foes. But beyond battles, disease lurked unseen, taking advantage of unsanitary fort conditions and poor nutrition. Diseases frequently visited these garrisons, with infections from minor wounds claiming many lives prematurely, eroding aspirations of long service and the rewards it promised. Despite the constant adversity, the shared burden of existence forged bonds of profound solidarity among soldiers from every corner of the empire. Hailing from regions like Thrace, Syria, Spain and Dacia, these men were united by hardship, transcending cultural and linguistic barriers with a camaraderie born of shared adversity. The barracks' bleak halls became spaces of compassion and connection where soldiers found strength and solace in mutual suffering. Together they created a fraternity against the loneliness and despair that permeated their lives. Language dissolved around campfires, replaced by laughter and shared stories that bridged gaps and formed lasting ties. This brotherhood became a bulwark sustaining spirits and determination needed to survive on the wall. In the quiet confines of their minds, each soldier nurtured dreams of life after service, a refuge of fertile fields under sunlit skies. Many cherished visions of Gaul's vineyards, Rome's bustling streets, or pastoral country life. Owning land, an unimaginable luxury, fueled these dreams, providing sustenance amid dreariness. These dreams kindled warmth in hearts hardened by cold reality, promising better days amid trials. Yet irony was a constant companion for these soldiers. They had joined the ranks falsely envisioning liberation from their former lives, but found even harsher restrictions along Rome's fringes. The promise of eventual freedom seemed cruel, a mirage amidst endless hardship. They dreamt of autonomy, but lived within Rome's distant demands. This paradox lingered like a shadow, underscoring the irony of their pursuit of freedom, entangled with bondage, a dichotomy of idealism navigating the weight of gritty reality. Uncertainty shadowed their futures with every passing season's hardships, eroding perceived certainty of citizenship and land. Rumours about unfulfilled rewards or retirees forsaken added scepticism. Each day reinforced a perceptive cynicism, aware that any moment could upend their distant hopes of promised lands. Over time, hope tempered into cautious resilience. Scarred soldiers learned pragmatic realism, evolving past youthful idealism through the harsh crucible of experience. Survival demanded adaptability, a forged strength allowing them to endure without breaking. They became guardians of wisdom born from hardship, an evolution befitting those who defended Rome's known world edge. As the years disappeared into one another, the question of worth threaded through soldiers' lives like a persistent melody. Enduring relentless hardship, they pondered if their sacrifices matched fleeting chances for peace or comfort. For some, endurance justified everything, a testament to personal strength. But for many, doubt lingered over dreams of vineyards and citizenship, especially as friends fell and promises faded. Ultimately, these soldiers became living ghosts, a testament to Rome's relentless machinery and human endurance. Their existence straddled the line between life and legend, buried by time's weight, yet occasionally emerging within mists of history as whispers of sacrifice. reminding us of human stories softened by moss and impermanence. Life as a border guard on Hadrian's wall brings one face to face with the omnipresence of death. Each morning, as you tug on your perpetually damp tunic and lace up your scuffed boots, you are keenly aware of life's frailty. Death lurks silently, manifesting as enemy arrows, rampant disease, or a misstep on the slick stones. This awareness seeps into your very being, shadowing each moment on patrol. You witness that understanding in your comrades' eyes, fully knowing each night might be the last you close them. This shared threat of mortality forges an unmatched bond among those stationed at the Empire's edge. Under the dim fortress lights, you whisper tales of distant homes, dream of futures that feel as distant as the stars, and offer confidential prayers to gods both Roman and those more ancient. There is a sombre comfort in this tacit acknowledgement of your fate. It becomes the melody you march to, a rhythm of endurance that every soldier internalizes. The wall echoes with fleeting laughter and tales spun with a macabre humour, yet remains a sombre reminder that legends fade while harsh realities persist. Eventually, the world will continue spinning, indifferent to your struggles and sacrifices. Beneath Hadrian's wall's weathered stones lie countless forgotten stories. Walking familiar paths, your foot may graze the bones of those who once stood where you stand. Anonymous monuments today, but once warriors whose bravery went unrecorded. In death, all lose their ranks. Legionary and centurion alike become earth, their dreams and desires swallowed by soil. Decomposition swiftly claims all who fall, leaving merely bones consumed by moss and time's passage. These silent remnants tell tales of lost friendships and bygone tribulations, whispering a harsh truth. History favours endurance over individuality. Occasionally, brutal weather or a siege might reveal these ancient secrets. Skulls and broken bones surfacing to remind that while names vanish, stone endures. The wall remains eternal, indifferent to the fleeting nature of human life. Future generations will tread these same stones, feeling a similar chill. Your story is but a footnote, merging with whispers in stone. As fog crawls in from the northern moors, it cloaks the land in ethereal twilight where distinctions blur, and phantom legions appear along the wall, still patrolling the frontiers of history. Apparitions blend with reality. You hear phantom trumpets, the murmur of forgotten tongues, footsteps along fog-drenched parapets. These spectral figures, woven into the fabric of nightly dread, affirm the timeless continuity of soldiering. An unbroken chain of duty from past to present, uniting those who've stood guard before you. These ghostly presences, recurring as night after night you endure the cold, offer an unexpected solace. They reassure you that your struggles, though grueling, are not unprecedented. Others have borne them and now rest in the embrace of the stones. As you huddle under threadbare blankets, the whispers carried on the wind are a lullaby, threading past and future together in the stillness. In this haunting tranquility, it becomes clear. The boundary between the living and the dead is less distinct than sunlight may reveal. Serving on Hadrian's wall means confronting anonymity and insignificance head-on. The Empire registers you only as a number on a roll and a name on a ledger. Your personal stories, filled with love, laughter, and fear, dissolve into the static noise of Roman bureaucracy. Perhaps a crude carving on a stone, or the breath of a name whispered beneath a cold sky is all that marks your passing, and even these vanish as time strips away even the deepest memories. Your individual mark will fade, as will the bonds you swear will last forever. Over time, New recruits replace old friends as you too become a shadow in their waking dreams. Beyond the collective forgetting, silence reigns. Though you form unbreakable connections with those beside you, sharing the depth of stories and bearing the burdens of one another's ghosts, you inevitably grapple with the grief of their passing. Yet with each year, even their familiar faces dim into the mist. It may unsettle, but within this anonymity lies peace. The fleeting moments define your soul, joining you to countless others who lived and served at the Empire's farthest edge, eternally etched into the fabric of Britannia's spine. Regardless of your anonymity, your efforts leave permanent marks. You raise structures, plot roads, fortify defences. Your actions wreathe the landscape in a tapestry only time can appreciate. Though individual names fade, the structures you helped build endure, testament to ambitions that reach beyond your years. The stones bear witness, recording not individual legacy, but shared human determination. Your hands mirror countless others throughout time, crafting continuity over impermanent centuries when, despite history's shadows, your collective labour remains a silent but steadfast monument. Upon the frontier stands Hadrian's wall, where your life may seem a brief flicker against the relentless march of time. Yet these contributions endure beyond you, altering landscapes and steering future paths, signifiers of human ambition etched deep in the land. Though anonymity consumes your story, the narrative extends through what remains, long outliving the fleeting flicker of a mortal life. Even amid military rigour, death on the wall is met with rituals. Ceremonies brief yet poignant transform final farewells into touching moments where rank disappears beside shared humanity. Amidst hurriedly dug graves, prayers whispered into the sweeping winds, echoing through the night sky. Silent reflections grant a moment's reprieve from ceaseless duty, holding space for unity amidst life's inevitable losses. As lives conclude, those left behind find solace in acceptance while reclaiming humanity through shared ceremony. Though your mortal bonds will sever, your service here forges ties that transcend mortality. Among the cold winds, united by shared hardship, spirits linger, creating a woven narrative of permanence. Stones acquire personal essence, grounded continuity against time's passage, standing testimony to your silent pledge. As dusk absorbs the light, whispers carry echoes from one generation to the next, mapping out a narrative grander than any single life, a saga speaking of duty, sacrifice, and endurance. Let us remember together, as we draw this tale to a close, like this ancient wall, our stories and shared humanity endure. If the journey captivated you, consider liking and subscribing for more profound journeys into our shared past.